One of the greatest challenges humans have when it comes to living their life and living it to the fullest in the Christian sense is this problem of pride and arrogance. We always seek to be better than the other person. We want the promotion more than the other person. We believe we deserve it more than anyone else. We want others to know how smart we are, how good we are, how good looking we are. That's how we want people to perceive us, as better and bigger and smarter and stronger and prettier and more handsome than the next person. And this kind of situation is not different from what the disciples found themselves in when they're serving Jesus. As disciples of Jesus, they wanted to be the greatest amongst themselves. They knew they couldn't be greater than Jesus. He was the teacher. But amongst themselves, they would have the conversation of who's the greatest, who's going to be the right hand, who's going to be the man. And we find this story in Matthew chapter 20, and the disciples, 10 of them, 2 of them with their mother go to Jesus and say, hey, you should really make us the people because that's what we're good at, and we'll be your lead men. And the other 10 find out, and the Bible says they were indignant. How could they do that? And it wasn't because the other 10 didn't want to be the greatest themselves. They were just upset that the other 2 had done it before they did. The Bible is very clear, and Jesus is very clear. As he responds to them in Matthew chapter 20, he says, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. He makes it ultimately clear to them, look, you know that I'm identifying myself as the Son of Man. And you have come to me knowing me as your rabbi, as your teacher, as the Messiah. And I am telling you that I did not come to be served, but to serve. It is Satan's prerogative to be the one to be served. That is his mentality. That is his disposition. But it is not that of Christ. How different our world would be if we would throw pride and arrogance aside. How different a relationship would be in a marriage if the husband would throw away his ego and pride and instead learn to love his wife. How different a friendship would be if pride and arrogance were thrown aside. How different a working relationship would be with those within your own workplace if you stopped the backbiting, if you stopped trying to be the first. Instead of trying to serve yourself, you would serve God. That's why the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 16, pride leads to destruction and arrogance to downfall. We have to learn how to evaluate ourselves correctly, and we can only do that in light of God's grace. When we find that He is the one that fills the holes in our life, when we find out it is not something we need to achieve or do, but instead give ourselves over to Christ. And when we do that, we find a God who exemplifies to us, who teaches us, who shows us that His disposition, His character is not one filled with pride. Even though He's the one that could have the most pride, it is one that is filled with humility. Humility to the point that He was willing to serve His creation, even to the point of death on the cross. So the question comes to you. Is there pride and arrogance in your life? Can you truly identify it? And if you can, come to the Lord. He is the only one that can help you see yourself as you truly are. And so I pray that as we go through this upcoming week, that we'll learn not to ask who is the greatest, but that we will simply know who is the greatest, and that's Jesus Christ. And as such, we will serve Him and serve others the way He told us to. That's your family, your friends, your boss, anyone in our lives. We will show them the character of Christ, not through our pride, not through our power, but through our humility.